Long ago, before the sea was charted and the gods had names, there was a creature who walked the edges of two worlds, sea and land, life and death, man and beast. It was called by many names, most of which were lost to time, but the name that lingered, whispered through generations of fisherfolk and peat cutters, was this: the Nuckelavee. The Nuckelavee was no spirit, no ghost, no beast. It was something older, a demon born of the sea, spawned in the deep where no light has ever touched, beneath the kelp-choked trenches and drowned bones. It was the bastard child of destruction, half man, half horse, fused together in a nightmare of flesh without skin. Its black blood surged visibly through the bulging red veins. Its breath stank of disease, and its single burning eye could set fire to fields and boil a man's marrow. In summer it slumbered, chained beneath the waves by the ancient sea goddess, the mother of the sea, who pitied the landfolk. But come winter, when her power waned and the wild wind howled unchecked across the moors, the Nuckelavee rose, and with it came plague. In the time of the elders, there was a winter unlike any other. The wind screamed for months without rest, and the sea surged so far inland that salt crusted the windows of homes miles from shore. Then the sickness came. The cattle died first, their eyes turned white, their tongues swelled. Then the barley fields blackened overnight, as though fire had crawled across the earth without flame. Children were born blue and cold, and the midwives wept in their aprons. The folk blamed witches, cursed each other, burned charms, and nothing worked. Until one night, a blind fisherman's daughter woke screaming. She said she had seen it in her sleep, a skinless creature with the body of a rotten horse and a man fused to its back, its jaw unhinged like a snake, with seawater spilling from its teeth. She cried, He walks the field now, with blood in his breath and famine in his step." And so they remembered the Nuckelavee. The old ones had spoken of it and warned that should the islanders forget their offerings, the beast would return with wrath unmatched. For years, the people had neglected the old rites, the silver coins tossed into the burn, the bowls of fresh milk left by the shore, the carved driftwood idols buried beneath the croftstones. And now it was too late. There was one man, a shepherd named Aidan McCry. He believed that he could drive the creature back. He was strong and proud and angry, the kind of man who cursed the old ways as fairy tales and burned his grandfather's talismans for warmth. Aidan declared that he would trap the Nuckelavee, drag it into the deepest loch, bind it with chains of iron, and show the people that fear was for fools. He set out alone, armed with nothing but a dagger and a lantern, walking the shoreline with his dog at his side. He was never seen again. The next morning they found his lantern at the edge of the moor, still burning, though it had rained all night. Beside it were hoof prints, not of any known horse, and a trail of black slime leading toward the sea. The dog returned 3 days later. Its eyes had turned red, and it would never bark again. That same night, A scream was heard echoing from beneath the waves, so loud and filled with hate that the islanders swore the stones wept and the sheep miscarried in the fields. The Nuckelavee did not kill all the people. It didn't need to. It blighted them. It left the island scorched with invisible fire. It salted the earth with its breath. It vanished wells and turned milk sour in the udder, and made the wind carry voices that were not your own. Some said it laughed, a great rattling gurgle that spilled from the fog, and said the words, "You forgot me, now you remember." Eventually the mother of the sea woke from her slumber and dragged the creature back into the depths, binding it in sea chains woven of storm and tide. But her power is not eternal, and when the tides shift and the people again forget to honor the old things, when silver no longer rests by the burn, and the fog returns to Sanday shores, the Nuckelavee will rise again. There's a place where the sea is more than water, where the wind, salt heavy and sharp, carries whispers from another time. The Orkney Islands, rugged, mist-choked, and ancient, are not just steeped in history, they're steeped in fear. And among all the tales spun by wind and wave, none is more haunting, more blood-chilling than that of the Nuckelavee. Imagine this, a creature torn from the deepest nightmares of a mariner adrift on endless gray seas. A body that's both man and horse, twisted together in a grotesque parody of life. But this is no mere monster. It's something worse. Skinless, oozing. The sinews of its grotesque form shimmer like wet rope under a pale moon. A single fiery eye stares from the human torso, fused to the horse's back, a gaze that sears into the soul. The breath. God help those who breathe its air, reeky of decay and sickness, leaving behind withered crops, dead cattle, and poisoned wells. To understand the Nuckelavee, I'm going to take you back, way back, before tales were told around hearth fires, before the first fisher hauled in nets from the seas. The Orkney Islands have always been a place on the edge of civilization, of the known world, and the edge is where strange things grow. Long before Christianity set foot here, the Norse settlers, the Picts, and the native islanders whispered of the sea spirit that rode the shore. It wasn't just a monster, it was a force, an embodiment of rage, of the cruelty of the storm-lashed waters. The Nuckelavee didn't just haunt the shores, it haunted the minds of the people. In winter, when the nights stretched endless, when the fishing boats lay tethered to the docks and food stores ran low, the tales, they grew louder. They whispered that the Nuckelavee rose from the depths during the coldest, harshest months, its raw, glistening form seeking vengeance on those who dared to live so close to the sea's edge. Crops would fail inexplicably. Livestock would fall ill, their eyes clouded and their bodies swollen. And then the children. One legend tells of a winter's eve when a child, just 8 years old, disappeared. The family lived in a cottage near the cliffs, where the waves pounded the loudest. That night, The air turned putrid, heavy, with something that wasn't quite the sea. The boy's mother swore she saw it, a form dragging itself in the water, the flames of its eye burning through the mist. The next morning, her son's footprints led straight to the water's edge and vanished. His cries, some said, still echo along the rocky cliffs when the fog rolls in. But the Nuckelavee is not unstoppable. It cannot cross fresh water. Streams and rivers are like walls to it, an ancient boundary to dare not pass. The Mither of the Sea, a great sea goddess in Orkney lore, was said to keep the Nuckelavee in check during the summer months. It's only when she sleeps during the long, dark winters that it rises from the waves. During the Middle Ages, the Orkney Islands were under the rule of Norse jarls, now known as earls, and the cultural exchange between Scandinavian and Scottish traditions was extensive. This era saw a solidification of the Nuckelavee's role as a harbinger of destruction. Oral tales spread of a creature that was not merely content to frighten, but actively sought to punish those who displeased it. This might have been tied to seasonal struggles, where the long, harsh winters made survival precarious. A bad harvest, a sudden illness, or a ship lost to the sea could all be explained as the work of the Nuckelavee's wrath. The legend of the Nuckelavee persisted even as Orkney's political and religious landscape changed. The islands transitioned from Norse rule to Scottish control, and Christianity gradually replaced older pagan beliefs. However, the Nuckelavee story endured, passed down through generations as a warning and a reminder of the sea's danger. Its description, skinless, grotesque, with a single fiery eye, remained consistent, serving as a vivid symbol of the untamed natural forces. Today, the Nuckelavee continues to captivate the imagination. Writers and historians, folklorists have preserved the tale, and it frequently appears in collections of Scottish and Orcadian folklore. It's seen not just as a frightening sea monster, but as a reflection of the ancient and enduring relationship between humans and the sea. The Nuckelavee is a reminder of how the harsh realities of life, disease, famine, death, were once explained through stories that imbued the natural world with sinister, uncontrollable spirits. In essence, the Nuckelavee's history is as much about the people who told its story as it is about the creature itself. It is a product of the Orkney's isolated, windswept shores, their Norse heritage, and the deep human need to find meaning in the face of a dangerous, unpredictable environment.